at is, let's remove this here. What you're basically looking at is, you're basically looking at candles moving down, and then you're waiting to see if the candles are trying to form some sort of a support, right? So now when you have something like this, and then you can turn around and say, okay, you know what? We have a bullish trend. Candles made a high right over here, right? You have a high. So now there's a 70% chance that the price is going to retest that high, right? Now on the higher time frame, this move is going to look something like this. Let's say this is the 4-hour time frame. So this is what's going to look like. So let me just do this. Let's do this, right? So this candle moving up would be these small candles moving up to retest this high. Make sense? So you had a break right over here, and then price made a high, and then now you're saying, okay, you know what, we've made a high, so now I'm probably going to wait for price to come down and create some sort of a support. Candles move down, you have a support because look, this is a bearish candle, and then you have a bullish candle right over here, right? So when you look left, you're like, okay, this was a breakout, so probability dictates that since this is the 30-minute or the 1-hour chart and we're forming support, so now this tells me, okay, we form support, I can probably have my stop loss down over here. Because once I have my stop down here, I know that, okay, as long as price stays above this level, we should continue moving up to possibly fill this range, right? And then on a higher time frame, this is going to be the wick fill right over here, right? Some people ask me about wick fill, so that's how you gauge your wick fills, right? But sometimes there will be no retest. It happens. It's totally normal in the market because the market flows in its own ways. Like it depends on the volume, it depends on what's happening fundamentally. It also depends on whether there was some high volatility news or not, right? Because if you get no retest, that's okay, because your plan dictates that you're always going to look for a candle to form a support at a retest, and then you're going to enter your trade, right? You have to be very specific with your trades. It's very, very important. Let's see. You can ask questions on the go too. So, but I'm going to make sure I answer all the questions before they're even asked. So we're going to do this. All right. So let's say that we have a situation like this, right? So you have a resistance formed here, and then you have candles moving up, right? Provided that, let's say that you missed out on this retest. So now you have candles moving up, right? So what do you do after this? Now, sometimes what's going to happen is that guy's going to say, okay, you know what, since this is a 30-minute chart, so I'm going to place a stop loss down over here because they said that in the webinar, and then I'm going to target for this wick fill, right? What you don't understand is that there is a resistance area here that was broken, because when you look at this level here, look at this candle, it was bullish, and then you had a strong bearish candle, right? So when you have the strong bearish candle, you also got to look at yourself and say, okay, so why did this candle happen? What was in this area that made this candle go all the way down, right? It was probably something strong. So now what you got to see is now all you got to do is you just got to wait to see if the candles will actually come down to this area, because if they do, you have a higher chances, a very strong probability of candles to continue moving bullish, right? Because we've made a high right over here. So let's see what happens. So you have this candle coming down here. So now what do you do? So do you take, how is that a retest when it never broke that resistance? Oh no, that was just for like, that was just for example purposes, right? But we're focusing on what's happening in the now, right? Now, what's happening here is that you have a candle coming down, bearish. What most people will do is that they will take a buy right over here, right? They'll take a buy here. Now, it's not a bad trade, but it's also very risky because the candle is moving against you, right? You have to enter trades when candles are moving in your direction. If you're looking for buys, you want candles to move in bullish, right? If you're looking for sells, you want candles to move bearish, right? So now when you look at this, you're seeing that, okay, the candle is moving bearish. And when you look left, you see that, okay, it's coming into that zone. So what do? You have to wait. You have to wait to see if the next candle can give you some sort of a confirmation that, okay, we are now trying to form